In today's world of market volatility and uncertainty, your retirement plans need to be front and center. With ever-changing tax laws, healthcare worries, and an unpredictable stock market, don't overlook the vulnerability in your retirement planning. Protecting your family and estate will be difficult with shifting policies in Washington. It's more important than ever to keep an eye on retirement.
Hi, and welcome into Eye on Retirement, the weekly show that keeps you in the know about all things retirement. I'm your host and financial advisor, Rick Everett, with Market Advisory Group, along with a full complement of panelists, to include financial advisor and managing partner, Matt Goolsby. From Market Tax Services, our lead CPA, Joshua Cicora. With Market Medicare Advisors, health insurance advisor, Trey Basa. And our lead attorney with our estate planning team, Eidelman Law Firm, Gerald Eidelman. Welcome in, everyone. Matt, we were talking before the show. You were telling me a little bit about Jerry and Elaine. Share with our audience, if you would, please.
Sure. Recently met with Jerry, and his wife did not attend the meeting, and that's okay for the circumstances. Jerry came to one of our tax classes, and unfortunately for Jerry, he was looking at retiring earlier because his wife, it looked like, has been suffering or starting to suffer from Alzheimer's. And that was just really tragic and really pulled at my heart for him, because here this couple, they've saved several million in their retirement accounts for retirement, and their retirement might not work out to be what they had hoped for or dreamed for. But as I was getting to know him and their situation, asking questions that probably a typical financial advisor is not going to ask because of not being licensed or not having these professionals that we work with day in, day out. But he told me that he had already applied for Social Security disability, and he expected that to soon be approved. But what I told him is, well, wait a minute. If she's got this health condition of Alzheimer's or dementia, then we need to make sure she gets her Medicare choices exactly right.
Trey Basa with Market Medicare Advisors. I guess this is where you came into play with Jerry and Elaine. Share with us how you were able to guide them.
Yeah, coming into the conversation, it seems like their whole world was being shaken up. These curveballs, they didn't have the answers to, so they come to our firm. Talking about moving on to Social Security disability and the Medicare options that people might have. Being on Social Security disability is really one of the two options that you have to get onto Medicare before turning 65. Sitting down and having that plan before you enroll into Medicare is vital. You need to understand what you're getting yourself into, how you're going to take up your health care with a condition like dementia, Alzheimer's. Those are major things that we want to make sure that our clients, if anything, need that coverage.
Thank you, Trey. Matt, I imagine with Elaine's diagnosis, one would think estate planning became very important. Did they already have a plan in place?
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. Again, here I am, a financial advisor. You'd think I'm just diving into the stocks, the bonds, the income strategies, but that's not the case. I wanted to address what was important to him, and I think I left out their ages. He's 60 and she's soon to turn 60. So she's age 59.
That's young to be developing that type of a diagnosis.
It's very young. And again, it really pulled at my heart because he was having to advance his plans on all this. And understandably so, he wants to enjoy some of those years of retirement with his spouse. But through the course of just getting to know him during that first visit, I said, well, Jerry, do you have any kind of formal estate plan? He goes, well, I have beneficiaries on everything. I said, well, forgive me, but may I ask you a little bit more intrusive question? He said, yes. I said, have you crafted these power of attorney documents that will allow you to step in and act on your spouse's behalf if she has any retirement accounts, which she has some, but the majority is in his name. And he didn't. So immediately I stop my process and say, we need to address this right now, because if he dies in a car crash, who's going to take care of her? They have children, but none of this formal planning had been done. So I brought in Gerald Eidelman of Eidelman Law Firm, and we're still working on this, but again, wouldn't you agree that was the top priority in that situation?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the key issue here is her stage of development of the disease. The earlier we can get together with that person, the more likely they are to have capacity to sign documents. So once you get a diagnosis of that kind, the clock is ticking, because you never know how far you have before you are no longer have capacity to sign documents or legal ability to sign documents. So one of the things we looked at, like you said, is the powers of attorney. Here, people are assume that because they're married, that everything is jointly owned and each spouse can do for the other without any limitations. And that's not the case. Specifically with her retirement accounts, he would not have been able to touch them if something were necessary to be pulled out to pay for medical care or whatever other necessities they had, because he had no authority to touch that. And if she had become incapacitated, then that money would require going to court and getting a conservatorship over her to be able to manage that money. So that was a big deal. The other thing was planning for the long-term care and the cost and what would happen. One of the things we do here is Medicaid planning, and it's extremely important. You may or may not use Medicaid, but it's important to protect your assets as though you would. In this case, we have the ability to protect his retirement accounts if she winds up going into a retirement home. That's something that it would protect his assets. But if he has it as he currently has the assets set up to pay out to the wife, if something happens to him, all that money gets dumped into the wife's lap, and all of a sudden, then you have a person with several hundreds or $1 million in money that would never qualify for Medicaid. So we needed to adjust that and to prevent that.
Matt, it's not an uncommon situation for all of us as financial advisors at Market Advisory Group. When we bring someone in for that initial consultation, yes, we're financial professionals, but there's a whole lot more to retirement planning than just the financial aspects.
And that is the understatement of the year. There's so much more. Here I am, a financial advisor, only licensed to talk about the stocks, the bonds, all those, the investment tools, which are important, but how many other things are being neglected in this situation? And how could a normal financial advisor really help Jerry and Elaine if they didn't have the complement of these other professionals to come in? Because my concern was if Jerry got in a car crash, then, and he's incapacitated or he's in a coma, you have all this money out there, there's no plan to take care of his wife, and that was really troubling.
No matter how good a retirement plan is, just like the illustration of what happened to Jerry and Elaine, life can always throw you a curveball and knock the wind out of those retirement plan sails. It helps to have a whole team on your side, ready to pivot when life pivots. At Market Advisory Group, that's exactly what we do. And if you'd like to set up a complimentary, no-obligation visit with our team, operators are standing by right now to take your call at 316-252-8707. And be sure and check out our website at ionretirement.com. In the next segment, we'll continue with Jerry and Elaine's story, and that comes your way right after this.
Out on the water, there is a moment. Perfect synchronization. The team working together in harmony to reach their goal. Now, imagine finding a team of financial professionals to help run your course down the river of retirement. Market Advisory Group is that team. Financial advisors, tax professionals, estate planning attorneys, and Medicare advisors, all in the same boat. If you don't have a team like this in one place, it can become a hassle to relay information between them. When you come to Market Advisory Group, we bring everyone together for you to get you answers in real time, to help make sure you don't miss something that puts your unique plan off course. You shouldn't be the one doing all the work to keep your retirement on pace. You should have a team in the boat with you. Your voice telling them where you're at, where you'd like to end up, and how you want to get there. And at that point, everyone falls into sync, all pulling in the same direction, toward the same purpose. Your retirement's financial security. We are Market Advisory Group, proud sponsor of Shocker Rowing.
Hi, and welcome back into Ion Retirement. In the prior segment, Matt, you highlighted Jerry and Elaine's primary problems as they came to visit you on an initial consultation. Was there anything else that had them concerned about their retirement planning?
Well, I wanted to speak specifically to Jerry's concerns. That's always what we want to do. If you come in and have concerns, by all means, my dad says, well, if you want to talk about sprockets, we'll talk about sprockets. But I mean, we want to talk about what you want to talk about. But Jerry's chief concern is they've saved in these retirement accounts that have never had the taxes paid on, IRAs, 401ks, and he had two children, or has two children, and he was really concerned with the tax bomb that he learned at one of our classes that he could be passing to his children. And no better person to talk about that than lead CPA Joshua Cicora, Market Tax Services. We work so well as a team here, but again, this is a financial advisor asking questions that a typical financial advisor won't ask because they don't have these resources. And thank goodness for Jerry and Elaine, we had this team that could help them.
Yeah, so you brought me in on this conversation, and we started talking about how they've got all this money set aside in accounts where they've never seen the taxes. And we're now looking forward to when the tax bill might come due and what's that going to look like and what's going to happen to these funds with whatever's left when they both pass. And one of the things Jerry was talking about is he didn't want these funds to go to his kids with a big tax bill attached. And so then we needed to start talking about planning considerations. Instead of letting it all wait till the end, we need to start digesting his way through the accounts to come up with a plan to address those in a more palatable fashion. If nothing else happens, if we don't do something, then when these go to the children, not only do they have to pay taxes on them, but they'll have to do it in what's probably their highest income earning years, which then means they'll pay the highest tax rates of their lives on what's supposed to be a blessing. And that's not where Jerry wanted to be at all. So we needed to start talking about different things to do. And this might sound counterintuitive, but we wanted to start intentionally paying the tax today so that we didn't have to in the future. Honestly, I mean, right now taxes are probably the lowest they'll ever be in any of our lives. It's just a math problem, right? People talk about, if this happens, if that happens, but at the end of the day, there's certain things that just have to be covered, and if there's not enough revenue, they just have to raise taxes. So we wanted to start attacking the problem now so that when they both passed, those funds would go to the children without the strings attached for taxes. So we started talking about, Roth conversions. We talked about different tools that we can employ to deal with the taxes in a controlled fashion versus just letting it blow up.
You didn't have that silver bullet. You didn't say, I'm going to sprinkle tax dust all over this.
You know what? It's back ordered. Pixie dust is on short supply these days.
Supply chain issues.
Supply chain issues, exactly so.
Still haven't.
So Matt, you've talked about 401ks and how their taxes are deferred, and you've visited about IRAs, but you have a whole arsenal of tools that you can utilize as far as planning goes to assist people.
Contrary to maybe what some people think out there, we're not stamping out the same retirement plan here like Model Ts. Everyone's is tailored to their unique individual situations, and Jerry had certainly a unique situation going on here. And chief among them, like I said, was this tax concerns. And when you have these tax concerns, if you don't address them, they're not going to go away on their own.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the story started when Jerry came to an estate planning class, but when he engaged with Market Advisory Group, the whole team went to work.
How about that? We teach these classes all over the metro areas, and if you want to go check them out, you can go to marketadvisorgroup.com. Right there at the top is a classes tab. In fact, Josiah and our marketing team, they've actually even started putting some of those on our website. You can go to them and watch them as a webinar. We encourage you guys to do that. If you're not paying attention to your money, no one else is going to do that more than you. And if you're not getting the help you need to solve these issues, it can be very costly.
A whole team coming together with the sole purpose, focused on the client in front of them. Holistic retirement planning, every aspect of retirement planning, from the estate planning to tax planning, Medicare advising, and financial advising. If you'd like a whole team to go to work for you, reach out for a complimentary no-obligation visit at 316-252-8707. And be sure and check out our website at ionretirement.com. We've got one more segment of Ion Retirement, and it comes your way right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
I need a place to go to see about my investments. Ask my friends if they know about holistic retirement. Everything in one place. Estates, taxes, and Medicare. People meeting face to face. Advisors to help me get there.
At Market Advisory Group. Retirement under one roof. At Market Advisory Group, we're invested in you.
Hi, and welcome back into Ion Retirement. In the final segment of this show, we have a different story to highlight. Matt, share with us, please.
We talk about people that come to our classes. Well, sometimes they don't need to come in and meet with a financial advisor on one of those classes. Sometimes they need to come in and review their Medicare options. And that's what happened with Mildred here. Mildred had come in and met with Trey, and while Trey was walking her through some of her healthcare options that have needed tweaked and adjusted over time, she said something. She said, "You know, I haven't met with my financial advisor in over a year. He just doesn't pay enough attention to me." And that was my best Mildred voice, by the way. If you can comment. Sorry, Mildred. Sorry, didn't do you justice. But so Trey conveniently scheduled her a time to meet with me, and she came back the next week, and through talking with her, she had an investment of around $250,000, but she had almost $1 million in cash sitting at the bank. And she goes, "Well, I've wanted to maybe look at a CD, and I've thought about the market, but really, I'm just can't get comfortable with if I lose this," because she wanted to pass it on to her kids. Mm-hmm. So we worked together as this team to look at this, and one of her thoughts was, "Well, I want to maybe look at a CD for the safety aspect. But I hear on your guys' program all the time that if I'm on Social Security," which she is, "this can have an impact on the taxation of my Social Security." So we discussed several options, but I wanted to bring in a CPA to talk about that taxation on those CDs versus maybe a different strategy that we could use versus the CD.
Joshua, when we're talking about certificates of disappointment, they're showing right now. Did I say that?
You did say that. But they're not as disappointing as they have been in the past.
But we're seeing the little pop-up signs on the street corners, 5%, maybe 5.05% on a CD return rate. Looks great on the outside, but tell us the Paul Harvey rest of the story, if you would.
Yeah. So what often catches people by surprise in these situations is that they're got the CD, it's nice and safe, it's going to start creating some interest income. That's what you got invested for, right? But then that income becomes taxable, and not does it just become taxable dollar for dollar, it starts making more of your Social Security benefits taxable. So now every dollar you're earning out of that CD isn't just $1 of taxable income, it's maybe $1.50 of taxable income, $1.85. And who's paying those taxes? Because there's no withholdings on that CD interest. So now you go to file your taxes and maybe you get less of a refund that you were maybe counting on. Maybe you start owing. Where's that money coming from? It creates a real problem. And so when we were kind of visiting with Mildred, we started talking about, wouldn't it be nice if there was some way we could invest the funds that it was just as safe as the CD, but it didn't trigger that taxable event until you took cash out. Because then you take cash out, you've got money to pay the taxes.
And this strategy isn't for everyone, but with Mildred not wanting to put things in the market and risk losing it to market volatility, furthermore, she didn't know if the market was going to keep going up like it has been lately. She wanted to make sure she could do this in a tax efficient manner and also maybe get a better rate than the CD was paying potentially, and give a different maybe tool there that some advisors don't use all the time. And it's not appropriate for everyone, but in this case for Mildred, it was really the ideal tool.
Yeah, you know, the great thing about having retirement-oriented accounts is that they're not taxable till you take the cash out. But not all money can go into those. You know, they have contribution limits. If you're not working, you can't contribute. So then we have to start looking around as we go through tax planning, trying to find different ways to get that desired tax treatment, especially when Social Security comes into play. Because so many different things impact the taxation of the Social Security, we have to be a lot more careful when we do things that we know is going to trigger taxable income. And if we can try to kick that can down the road a bit, a lot of times it works out in the client's best interest.
May I point something out here, though?
Please do.
Please do. Thanks, Rick. She came to one of our Medicare classes because she had some question on Medicare things. She was meeting with Trey, having this conversation. Trey heard a concern of hers and asked her politely, do you want help addressing that? And she's like, yeah, I haven't really heard from my financial advisor. It's not like someone has to work with all of us. We have plenty of people that work with us a la carte, but when these situations come up, you know, we have the team in place to help people get answers, sometimes even fix the problems they have.
It's kind of like the philosophy of, I know a guy.
But sometimes you'll see financial advisors try and be all this to someone. And what's the phrase? Jack of all trades.
Right, master of none.
And when you have these specific situations that call for a healthcare professional or a healthcare advisor to help them navigate those issues, sometimes something else bubbles to the surface. And if they want, they can have access to these other team members here that we work day in, day out. And we love our clients. We love meeting with them. We love hearing their stories, and we love having them enjoy retirement and not have to worry about retirement.
So if I heard you correctly, you're describing an investment vehicle that has almost some of the similar benefits of an IRA or a 401k from the standpoint of deferring those taxes for down the road.
Well, it was going to put Mildred back in the driver's seat of when she wanted to exercise the income. If she had this CD at the bank, she wasn't really in control of that, and she wasn't even taking a withdrawal from it, but it was causing her more taxes on her Social Security. No one at the bank cared to explain that to her. I'm sure you're shocked.
No, I'm not really. And I find it more and more often, Matt, when people are coming in to visit with us after attending one of the free workshops that we put on throughout the community. A lot of people are coming in and they're seeking one thing. They may be seeking the tax advice. They may be seeking the Medicare component or the estate planning. But more often than not, there are underlying things that they're wanting to address.
And more often than not, it's not something a financial advisor can handle. And if they're working with a financial advisor, not with this team, it's their responsibility to make sure those things get addressed, not their advisor.
So many people come to this first consultation and you can just watch the light bulbs go off, especially when they have been dealing with that standalone advisor for so long that has referred them to his best friend, a CPA, or his best friend, estate planning attorney. And to have it all under one roof and working under a fiduciary standard tends to put a lot of people at ease.
I had someone the other day say, "Where were you 20 years ago?" I said, "Well, just graduating college, so I'm sorry I wasn't there to step in." But when they see this team, they're like, "Why have we been doing this the other way?" And I really encourage people out there, if you're similar situation, you probably want to schedule a visit with us just to come in and have a discussion, maybe learn some things. Had someone just in last week, they said, "We've learned more sitting with you in the past hour than we have with our entire financial advisor for the past 10 plus years."
Nice.
That was nice to hear.
Very nice. Today's episode highlighted just 2 client stories, but we see stories like this every day at Market Advisory Group, even in the information age. It can be tough to find the right information, and that's why you shouldn't go it alone. You should have a whole team in the room to help you through that particular set of circumstances. If you'd like to set up a complimentary no-obligation consultation, operators are standing by right now at 316-252-8707. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Rick Everett, along with the entire team, reminding you that we're here to keep an eye on retirement.
Unless otherwise indicated, all client and prospect names mentioned on this show have been changed to protect the identities of the individuals discussed. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns are not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. Legal services are offered by Eidelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. The guest commentators featured in this show are not investment advisor representatives of Foundations and do not provide advisory services. Market Advisory Group does have several investment advisor representatives that can provide such services. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any U.S. government agency, the Social Security Administration, or associated with any federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal/tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies. All rights reserved.